Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning after. We're back. Took a little day hiatus. My boy D Hill, he's still down bad, man. He's recovering from his sickness. So with me and Subi today, we've got last night's action. We've got Tuesday night's action. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. And of course, we'll end it because we know once the commenters get in here, it's what they're going to want more than anything. Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, Illinois look ahead. We'll be all over it. Timer just reset in the top left, so I really hope everyone heard all that. If not, good morning again. Welcome into the morning after. It's me and Subi. Deion's still sick. We got a loaded show for the day. Yes, Connor, it's true. That boy D Hill is not here. Upon his request, just so you guys know how this works, every night I text Deion. I say, What's the vibes? What's the vibes tomorrow for the show? Because it is technically his show. So I'm like, whatever you want to do, let's rock out. He texted me last night. He said, any way you can get someone to hop on with you. I'm still sick as hell, and I haven't slept past 7 a.m. for the last, 2 weeks. I need a little recovery. And I was like, I got you. Me and Subi will get after it. Subi, this is your – God, we're up there now, sixth time on the program, fifth time on the program. How we doing?
Something like that. I'm doing well, man. I'm currently in a text battle with Providence fans because Jalen Sellers, and we'll get into college hoops, right? I can't believe we're leading off with Providence and Jalen Sellers, but alas, there was a lot of, JK, let me say this. There's a lot of lack of self-awareness around college basketball the last couple of nights. So Jalen Sellers for PC basically said, I still think we're one of the best teams in the country. I'm like, dog, come on. I can appreciate self-confidence. I can appreciate blind faith. Come on, man. So I just quote tweeted it. I was like, this along with Steve Donahue and who was the other one? Someone else. Oh, Earl Grant said something egregious about BC and how he turned the program around. I'm like, there's just no self-awareness. And now my Providence fans are just giving me grief. And I'm sure it'll get aired out on Twitter and those hyenas will come for me.
Rick, my guy, Caden Boozer, hate from Australia. It just gets me every time I see Deion's profile picture with the Caden Boozer username. Rick, I'm going to ask Subi that question, and he'll give his short answer, and then I promise you we're going to go deep into the Purdue MSU bag. But Subi, short answer, who do you have tonight? Purdue.
Man, I know I'm going to give you I actually don't know right now, so to give you a very short answer, I'll go with Purdue. They may have turned a little bit of a corner. Mackey, give me Purdue.
Yeah, I'm leaning in that direction too. So obviously, if the chat starts cooking up some stuff, we'll follow their direction. But I don't even know where my man Dime Store Drake at. He is probably blasting Tamiflu. That's what you take, right? I think that's
how bad. What's going on with Deion without violating any HIPAA rules? I guess
he basically was in here Monday and was like, I definitely have the flu. And he was like, I'm going to get through it though. Then he hits me Tuesday. He's like, I'm still good to go with Riley. I'm just down bad. Then yesterday he was like, yo, I gotta take a day off. I'm down bad. And so I'm thinking there's some flu stuff, which there's so many bugs going around these days.
Yeah. But JK, this is a beat up ball club, Sleepers.
Oh,
and we don't share a locker room. So how's this going around?
I'm not sure, but I'm glad we're getting our injuries and sicknesses out of the way in February for the big one. We got to be ready for March. Got to have everyone fully healthy because here's the thing. Like I said, I don't want to ruin anything that's going to get unveiled on full episodes, but there's some stuff happening where there will be a lot of sleepers members in the same vicinity. So if someone pulls up sick to that, we really will all be absolutely cooked, spreading in the locker room. Yeah, it's been a wild last couple weeks in terms of the health. Rick says, JK and Subi, did you know MSU hasn't won in Mackey in 12 years? Did not know that. That's insane. Also, Connor spread 7.5. I like Purdue. I think they're going to win. 7.5 over any ISO team is a lot of points.
Yeah. That 12-year stat, though, is a little bit
I did see, I don't know if you saw it making its rounds. Tom, did you know they haven't made a natty since 09? We're just getting good thing Carter's not on the show today. Michigan State's getting absolutely ran through the mud. That is a lot of points.
Real quick, I don't know if we want to bring up, like, if Purdue fans want to bring up like historical success over the course of the 2000s. We're stopping at 09.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. Whenever I was on here with Dion Monday, I said I thought 4.5 was a good line because I thought home court in basketball is worth like 2 points, and I thought on a neutral they'd be a 2.5 point favorite. That being said, the graphic that's been making its rounds of like their last, I don't know if you saw it yesterday on Twitter, it's like the last 10 matchups or something. Michigan State's only won 2 out of the last, oh God, I don't know how many it is. I'm sure the Purdue fans will know exactly which graphic I'm referring to, but it was making its rounds on social media yesterday. And I was like, I just did not know that Purdue was laying this level of belt on Tom Izzo every time they played.
They said in their Rickus Morty said in the last 11 meetings, Purdue is 9-2.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Very impressive. Yeah, I mean, Purdue has been a wagon for the last few years, and there have been some rough, by their standards, years for Michigan State. It is. I mean, when you take a step back and look at it at a high level, yeah, 2-9 from a Sparty perspective is crazy. I don't think that number is going to improve today.
No, I think that God, I got to get off Twitter, man. I keep seeing 40-20 tweets. It's ruining my day. So yeah, I also think it's different too, because like I'm pretty sure the way they do the schedule is different now. So like you don't always get which I hate. That's a whole conversation for another day. I know this would completely cut out the bad teams, but like I think we should make a rule where like the 5 best teams in every conference have to play twice.
Yeah, I do like that. It's funny. Like I knew coming into conference realignment, looking at the schedules was just going to have me feel some type of way. But when the games are actually played and then you see the final and you're on your app and you're like, Wisconsin was in Oregon last night. And you just see like, oh yeah, Cal's resume. Cal's got wins over North Carolina and Miami. And I'm like, why are they playing these teams? Like it's not what I grew up with. But in terms of like, we're well past conference realignment. We've had that discussion a million times. It's just jarring to still see. But yeah, I agree with you, JK. We need the top teams playing each other multiple times. I saw this the other day on Twitter. The Big 12, someone deemed it the Royal Six. I thought that was nice. I thought that was clever. It's like Arizona, Kansas, in no particular order. Arizona, Kansas, Texas Tech, Iowa State. That's 4. Kind of lump BYU in there. All right, whatever. Who's the 6th team that I'm missing? Why am I missing them?
BYU, Arizona,
Houston. I didn't say Houston. But I like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you identify your best 5-6 teams hopefully entering the season and schedule it.
See, yeah, like for example, it's just asinine to me that UNC and NC State only played once. Like, that's just so insane to me. Like, it is what it is, though. I mean, conference realignment, like you said, all this stuff. There's only so many things you can do. All right, quick recap debriefs. We'll go back to Tuesday first. We'll do a quick little panic meter check here. Starting with Michigan. And I know my boy Tominator's in the chat, so we'll see what he says. Michigan panic meter after losing to Duke, and then a game which I thought would be a smash spot where they destroyed Minnesota at home. They kind of looked bad. Was it just a Minnesota game sandwiched between Duke and Illinois? What's your synopsis here?
It's fine. It's just part of this guy. Like, no, my panic meter is very, very low, like 0 to 1. I wouldn't worry too much about it. At the end of the day, they clinched a share of the Big Ten title, right? Having won that game. There's that emotional letdown spot, I suppose you could say, after that Duke game, which was so good. And I mean, those are two of the best teams in the entire country. I'm not worried about Michigan, though, man. The synopsis is, I think, is just it's a letdown spot, and I think now they can look forward to postseason basketball. They obviously want the outright title, but that's kind of where Dusty May's group is probably recalibrating their mind right now, is to say, hey, you might see a couple of lame duck performances to close out the regular season, but then once they come to Chicago and then wherever they go for the NCAA tournament, it's going to ramp up.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it was just a weird game. Like, yeah, I think, Tom, that's the right read. If they do lose to Illinois, could be convinced on like a very minor amount of panic, but it would be like a 2 on a 1 to 10 scale.
I still wouldn't be that panicked, dude. Yeah. Like, Michigan has done enough where, like, Michigan, Duke, and Arizona, I think, have done enough. Maybe Iowa State have done enough where you're just like, they're fine. And if they drop a game against one of these very quality teams, I don't think that impacts their overall health for March.
Yeah, I think I agree with that read. I think that's the right read. I do agree with what Connor said earlier. I do still think Michigan is, if you were forcing me to bet on a team to win it all, I'd still bet on Michigan. No disrespect to the Cats, Subi. I do love the Zona Cats, but me and you have discussed your shortcomings. Speaking of the Zona Cats, let's talk about them. Close one against Baylor. We usually don't do much Arizona talk on the show, but when you're here, it's an absolute necessity. What's your little panic meter reading on a weird Baylor game?
Not terribly panicked. Again, another emotional letdown spot. They had a huge win on the road at Houston, and then they had probably their worst first half defensively against Baylor. Baylor was doing whatever they wanted in the paint, and then they came out like gangbusters in the second half. Jaden Bradley, special performance. Braden Burry's dog. I guess it was reported he's been playing with bronchitis. That's another beat up ball club, by the way, with Arizona. Cole Pete's out. Dwayne Aristode's out with an illness. No one knows what's going on with that. But Braden Burry's strapped up. Jaden Bradley strapped up. And, it was at the end of a 4-game gauntlet too, JK. Two of those games being played in Houston and Allen Fieldhouse. He went 500 over that stretch. Get injured, you're sick. You got it out. I would have loved for them to kick their feet up, but life on the road in the Big 12 isn't like that. Cam Carr was special, but it was just a quality win. It was a gritty win. I'm overall happy with it. Now they got Kansas, but I want them to get some rest. Tominator, I don't know what the status is on Koa. It's all just sketching me out.
Yeah, that would be the only real panic I'd have about Arizona is the Koa thing. But part of me is just thinking, like, I think they're being very cautious until March comes around, and once the meaningful games are back, I would imagine he comes back. But I think that's probably, like, obviously without Koa, completely different team. With Koa, like, I have no panic at all, and I think they will be fine. Like, I think they can still beat Kansas, obviously. Like, they're fine. Like, it's kind of the same thing as Michigan. We've seen enough
Yeah.
big enough sample size to know. Now, here's a team. This is the first team we will 100% be in agreement on that we are panicked, and that is the BYU Cougars. I mean, we saw like the Debansa, however you want to say it. Iowa State, he carried, and he led them to, and it was insanely impressive that he willed them to a victory over that iteration of Iowa State. That is a really good squad. And then they play UCF at home as 12.5-point favorites. They get absolutely smoked. They're down 70-35 at one point. It's just too much of a load for AJ to shoulder. Like, they just don't have enough. And yeah, like, well, I'm at like a 10 on the panic meter scale from 1 to 10 on BYU.
Yeah, for sure. But here's what I'd ask. How are you defining what panic is? For me, panic is, oh man, we look good, but we could absolutely get caught, right? If I'm BYU and their fans, I'm just like, all right, we stink. Like, we're not doing any damage, right? So I think panic comes from having expectations. I wouldn't necessarily have super high expectations for this BYU team. Now, a lot has to do with the Richie Saunders injury for sure, but they are basically a 1.5 two-dimensional ball club, which is to say, Rob Wright, AJ DeBonsa, go ahead and get yours. The rest of the guys, we'll see what you can do. Now, against Iowa State, DeBonsa was incredible, like fingerprints all over the basketball game, and it might have just been one of those nights. Milan Momcilovic wasn't that good in that particular game, but yeah, I mean, the panic meter is obviously high for BYU, but what are your expectations at this juncture? I think we've seen now over the course of this month that they're limited, man. And I agree with Greg. Greg has diagnosed this team as Kevin Young basically saying, here you go, Rob Wright, here you go, AJ, go ahead and rock out. And it's not going to prove fruitful, I don't think, come the NCAA tournament. My only other thing, JK, that I want to highlight, UCF is like that. I've been saying this for quite some time. They have a bucket in Themis Folks. I think Johnny Dawkins can coach his tail off. By the way, they probably should have beat that Zion Williamson Duke team in the NCAA tournament. All right.
True. Big Taco.
Big Taco. Like, UCF is good, man. And when Arizona beat them in Orlando, I know a lot of people were talking about the schedule. They're like, they haven't played like a bona fide NCAA tournament team. And I'm like, they beat UCF. And I'm telling you folks, like, they may not be a sexy name, but UCF is a tournament team, and Themis Folks might be able to beat you.
Yeah. My last thing on BYU, when I say I'm panicked, I guess what I mean is obviously they're not a contender or anything like that. When I say I'm panicked on BYU, I'm panicked in the sense of like, this team might only win like one more game to end the year. So it's going to be very interesting. Jimmy, please, Greg and Carr, MSU Purdue recap. And Rick, JK, any way you can make the list for today's shorts. First off, the fact that you think the shorts list wouldn't already be made at 10:20 a.m. on Thursday is crazy. We have a loaded list today. Today is Carton Riley, but tomorrow is obviously going to be Purdue MSU recap day, tons of shorts. Now, I don't know what Greg's plans are, so I can't speak to that. I know that's what it's about. But here's the thing. Like, if you watched the channel yesterday, Greg and Cart were on the Michigan State videos. They were on the video about Jesse and Cam Ward when Tom Izzo called them out. They were on the video about Izzo saying that who blamed me? Blamed me for what? Not my fault. Also, Greg's not even on the full day today. So even if there is Purdue and Michigan State shorts, but it's Riley and Cart today. Yeah, so, well, I basically just said something that implied G being on videos for this game specifically, and I will not get into that on the air, but I will tell Subi off the air, but that can't be public information. But yeah, like can you blame Greg for not wanting to be on the Michigan State videos? Tom, this is a fair quarrel, which is why Greg was on some yesterday. Yeah, see, here's the problem though. G does look at the comments, and there is a lot of positive ones, but for every positive one, there's also like one that is absolutely absurd that we're not even going to repeat on this channel because it's just insane. One, just honestly, really one game yesterday to get to before we get into this huge preview bag. Yukon laid build on St. John's, and I'm not surprised at all. Hurley is never – the only reason I'm not surprised is because Hurley's the type of guy that will not lose to a team twice in the same year just because he's got, like, such an ego that, like, I can imagine Yukon's pre-games before this St. John's matchup would be – we're on a different level because, yeah, and – that was just special, man. 32-point victory.
JK, I was surprised by the difference in score. Okay, I thought it would be touch and go. I said Yukon was going to win because I had the preview and recap with Joey. Show him some love, by the way. Joey's been doing awesome on the previews and
He's
recaps.
Been cooking.
He's been so much fun to work with. But I was a little surprised that it was a 30-point win. I was a little surprised that St. John's only scored 14 points in the game, or the second half, excuse me. I was a little surprised that it was only Josan Sannon who had double figures for St. John's. Like, those things did surprise me. But to your point about Dan Hurley, right, and just kind of having a chip on his shoulder, that is the culture that he's built. So obviously Hurley, right? You say you're not going to lose to a team twice in the same season. He has lost 3 straight, though, or he had lost 3 straight to Rick Pitino. And I promise you that was irking him, and they needed a slight, right? So there's that. Then there's the Zuby Ejiofor Big East Player of the Year chit-chat. I don't know if it's changed after that game, but I can tell you coming into the game, it was very loud, and maybe it should still be just as loud. There's no shame in losing to UConn. You can have a bad game, but the chit-chat about Zuby Ejiofor being the best player in the conference, I guarantee you Terrace Reed was probably sitting there being like, I cannot wait to step on the floor with him. And if you watch, Terrace Reed was sensational from soup to nuts. But to start each game, Terrace Reed has been really, really good. It's just, can you carry that over the remaining, 33 or so basketball minutes? And he did. He was so damn good. The bench was really good for UConn as well. I think they had 11 total points, 9 total rebounds, where in the first matchup, they were non-existent. And then the biggies. Things that you can control. UConn only had 5 turnovers in this last game. One of them was dribbling out the shot clock. So really, they only had 4 turnovers. No live ball turnovers. And the previous matchup, they had 15 turnovers. That's going to win you a lot of hoop. 82% from the line, I believe, UConn. They're a bad free throw shooting team. But, man, this was a comprehensive ass whooping, JK. And what you saw was dominance inside the paint from UConn on both offense and defense, and ineptitude inside the three-point arc. Ineptitude from inside the three-point arc from St. John's on both ends. Like, that was a diatribe that I just released. But, man, that was an ass whooping.
Yeah. Grass ain't always greener, Ian Jackson. The grass is brown and dead in New York.
Now, is it greener for Terrace, though?
It's definitely greener for Terrace. I just love giving trolling because Rick Pitino did his whole off-season tour about how Ian Jackson was the next great St. John's point guard, and he's been not even a point guard. Second off, he hasn't been great. That's for sure. So yeah, that game was insane. And Rick said stop pretending UConn is somehow amazing. I don't think UConn is amazing, but I'm also not going to sit here and like act like they're not a top 10 team with the best coach in the sport. So like I have to give them their props there. As bad as the Big East is.
They've earned enough cachet. They're a modern college basketball dynasty. Straight up. I'm not trying to glaze them. I get it. Like, their fans are super obnoxious. I don't like them, but they are allowed to be. Yeah. They win. All right. They've won 2 of the last 3. I don't know what you want me to do. So like if Dan Hurley can't get the benefit of the doubt, I don't know who can.
Yeah. Same thing I think about that. That's a fair point, Connor. What fans are not super obnoxious?
Yukon fans are like way different, dude. They really are. I've grown up in the New England area. I'm telling you, this fan base is like they're the worst. But
yeah,
again,
they only pop out when they're good too, which makes it a million times worse.
Well, like even when they're bad, dude, like a 7 seed won a national title. I promise you, they're born with a fork up their ass.
Yeah, it's interesting. The only other comment I have about yesterday, don't even need to go into detail on this, but I'm just letting y'all know. Don't leave Florida out of the natty talks. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. That front court is absurd.
Hey man, I was taking inventory over Arizona's season, and I was like, truthfully, guys, I think the best win was night 1 against Florida.
Like, and the thing that's crazy, that game was really good, and now looking back on it, we know what Arizona is. Before Florida was rolling, they went into Cameron and lost on like a last-second shot. Like, I'm just saying, man. And Connor, I do agree with that. The SEC is definitely worse this year. But they're just absolutely – they're just laying bell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this is a completely different team than the one that lost to TCU and lost to Yukon, like Auburn. Like, this team's just different. And once again, not to quite the same extent as Dan Hurley, but like Todd Golden, he's up there. Let's just say that.
I mean, I do think Florida's front court is like that. Houck didn't even have that good of a game against Texas, I don't think. But
yeah, Condon had like 23.
Yeah, I mean, he's been resurgent. Ruben Chinyelu is arguably the best defender in the entire country. He's got an offensive game now this season. No, they're good. They're very, very special.
They yeah, exactly, Tom. Like, they are literally they're Michigan with way less guard depth. Like, they don't have Kaysen, McKinney, Cadeau. Like, it's very interesting. They will definitely be in a lot of Final Fours and probably winning. I'll have them winning at least once in a bracket. I know that for sure.
How many brackets do you fill out?
Not that many. So what I usually do is I do like my main bracket, which is the only one I actually look at. And then just for the sake of like variance, I like to just like throw in some different combos just to like, because I mean, if I can make, I have my, like, for example, I enter bracket pools and I use the same bracket, my main bracket for all those, which is the only thing that counts. But like, just for my own pleasure, I'll make 7 random ones just because, like, if there's a one-off chance I'm going to make a perfect bracket, I mean, might as well just cook up some options. But I am a one bracket guy in terms of, like, any pool, any group I enter will be the same bracket. I'm not going to do, like, 7 different brackets in a group or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel that. So, basically, I am one series bracket that I've been in with my friends since like 6th grade, and we all print it out, handwrite it. Okay, like we submit it online like Yahoo, but every one of us like has the hard copy. So that's my serious bracket, and I'm going to marry 2 ideologies here. So that's my serious bracket, but also if Arizona is in the NCAA tournament, I take them every single year to win it all, because I'm telling you,
eventually you'll be right.
Well, it's not. Oh, I don't know if that's true. They could choke and puke on themselves again, but it's like, yes, I know I'm probably pissing away money, but there is no world, JK, where I'm going to live in where they win a national title and I did not pick them. Couldn't live with myself. I jump into Lake Michigan. I can't do it. So that's my approach. And then my wife has a friend who's like very kind. She's super sweet, and she's very like, she knows I love basketball. So she's like, and her husband loves basketball. We talk all the time, but she's like, okay, like, can we get this one going? And I'm like, golly, like, all right, let me sign up for this, throw together some bracket picks. And I basically just take the opposite. That's my very unserious one, but I'm a 2 bracket guy.
The most fun thing I do every year, and I literally do it every year, is I coin flip best 2 out of 3 every single game. Just because, like, why not do a completely random, I didn't choose anything? And the amount of times that coin loves like a 16 or a 15 is diabolical. And it's so hard for me to click it, but can't disagree with it. All right, now for what you've all been waiting for. Purdue, Michigan State tonight. Probably won't get into Michigan, Illinois too much. We'll give our slight predictions, but the big one tonight, Purdue, Michigan State. I'll start by saying this. I do think Purdue wins. I don't know if they cover, but I just think that what this comes down to is scoring. And I know that Purdue has a reputation for not having the greatest defense sometimes. And I understand how you could think that might be bad in contrast to Michigan State's style. I just don't think Michigan State can score with them straight up. Like, I just think that they have got, like, Omer doing what he did against Indiana is going to be really big for Purdue. One of the other guys steps up. Let's say Fletcher has a good game. Like, we know what Braden's going to do. We know what TKR is going to do. I just think that I just don't think Michigan State has enough firepower to go into Mackey Arena and beat Purdue.
Look, man, say what you want about Purdue, but their offense is pretty damn special. Like, they get really good looks. They're a top 20 team in field goal percentage. Like, that offense is clicking, and they take care of the basketball. So I'm actually looking at that category, JK. Like, I think Purdue, if they really ratchet up the intensity and if Mackey gets going crazy, they can force Michigan State. I think the goal should be like 12 to 13 turnovers, maybe get out in transition, capitalize off those, but also play a clean basketball game. Maybe give up only like turn the ball over like 7 or 8 times if you're Purdue. So I mentioned the field goal efficiency. I mentioned the turnovers, but also I'm looking at the 3-point line. I think Purdue can get a little hot just for like a stretch, right? Just a 6 to 7 minute stretch where maybe you go 2 of 4, something like that, to separate a bit and then go from there. So I'm really looking at Purdue's offense, and I think that's the difference in this one. And you kind of alluded to that as well. And I think there's an emotional factor to this, JK. And what I mean by that is Braden's only got, like, the seniors only got 2 games left in Mackey, right? Senior, the last one is against Wisconsin, which they got to be on high alert for, by the way. It's not just a coasting senior day type of game, but there's only limited amount of opportunities left to show out in Mackey. But also there is this narrative this season, JK, that Purdue cannot win at Mackey against elite or very good teams, right? Illinois, Iowa State earlier in the year. I'm not necessarily, like, it's been proven to be true just by the win-loss, but I don't think that there's some bad team. I think this is just something that's going through their head, and they're going to be saying this is a massive statement game. By the way, this is basically, I don't want to diminish other teams, but this is like what everyone's tuning in for tonight. Thursday nights are not usually for men's college basketball. It is this one is the highlight.
Yeah, it's a little different sauce to it. Also, like, I just think that, like, it just plays, this matchup to me just plays so into Purdue's hands. Like, Purdue struggles with a team like Illinois or like Michigan because defensively they do have flaws. And it's really hard to hide guys against those teams because every time they have guys on the court, trust me, I cheer for a team that has Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, my dogs, but you got to be able to at least hide them a little bit on defense. Same with Purdue. They can do that against Michigan State. Like, they're always going to have a 2 guard on the court that you really don't have to guard. And, you know, like, the front court matchup is interesting. Clough and TKR versus Cooper and Kohler is fun. But I just think that, like, you got bodies to annoy Jeremy Fears with. Also, like, you can go under screens with Fears. Like, I just think this is kind of the perfect matchup for Purdue. Like, I get that Michigan State is physical and really good defensively and can make your life difficult. But I also think that Purdue, even though they are not a great defensive team, I think it's easy to make Michigan State's life difficult too. For example, Ohio State did it with guys out. They lost 66-60. It was if they score 66 points against Purdue, they probably lose by 12. So, I just don't know if they can score enough. I also agree with Tom. If you get up early on Michigan State, they really don't have if you get up 10 at any point, how are they going to come back?
I mean, we kind of saw it with Michigan and East Lansing, didn't we? If I remember correctly, Michigan kind of pounced on them and just zapped their soul.
I will say this to play devil's advocate. The contrarian side of this is the athleticism of Michigan State. How much can it bother Purdue's backcourt? Because I do think there is a world where their athleticism really impacts Fletch and Braden and those guys. So that's the key. But yeah, I mean, basic question: Purdue offense versus Michigan State defense, and Michigan State offense versus Purdue defense. Bigger differential.
I think Purdue offense in favor of Purdue. I think it's Purdue offense, Michigan State defense. Purdue's offense.
I agree. And Michigan State's 41st or something like that in offense. It's not great. Rebounds do matter.
Yeah.
That is true. But the way TKR has been rebounding the basketball this year, I think Clough is big enough and annoying enough to get under Cooper's skin. And I mean, Kohler, I don't think this is a game where I'm looking at it oh my God, Michigan State has front court advantage.
Maybe
not. I think it's about even.
Yeah, I'm okay saying that.
Except TKR is way better on offense than either of Michigan State's bigs.
That's true. I like Jackson Kohler though, man.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you what's going to happen. What's really going to happen? They're going to leave Jackson Kohler open on 3 pick and pop threes, and he's going to hit them.
Or a transition.
Purdue fans are going to be so mad in the chat about they hit everything against us, and I don't blame them because Jackson Kohler can shoot a little bit, but
yeah, he can.
I would be mad if he was hitting threes on my squad too.
I mean, look, I don't disagree that Kohler might be food for TKR. I just like Jackson Kohler. I think he's a gritty, tough-nosed player who has a decent outside shot. This isn't
that sounded like Collinsworth describing a white wide receiver.
Guy. Look, man, what do you want me to say? He is a gritty guy. He plays for Michigan State and he's from Utah.
You have to be, you can't play for Izzo if you're not a gritty guy.
I mean, wasn't there a time where he would just put football pads on these players during practice?
Oh, I'm sure there was.
They were that Michigan State team that went already referenced in 2009 that went up against your heels in the title game. I remember going into this, I was like, all right, this is a bunch of NBA players in North Carolina, skill, speed, all of it. And I don't know, the only way Michigan State might hang in this is because they're in Detroit and they might just beat the hell out of if it gets into a rough and tumble matchup. But then again, you still had Hansbrough. So, but yeah, I mean, those Michigan State teams were terrifying.
Yeah, no, they actually were. I do think it's time to buckle up though. Big game tonight, huge game tomorrow. And I just want to say we need more elite standalone games in college basketball. It's what makes Monday so fun. Just give me one. I know there's some days that are hard to compete with during the football season, but once the football season ends, give me one good standalone game every single night. And we're chilling. I love it. Good day today. Going to be a good one tomorrow. Weekend slate's a little meager. Can't lie, it's not the greatest.
Arizona, Kansas.
Do get Arizona, Kansas. At least we get. There's always a couple good ones. Like even with the
Duke could be
totality.
good too. Yeah.
Yeah, so there'll be a couple. I think there's like 3 or 4 good ones. And then I mean it's gonna be interesting to see how this leads into March. Conference tournaments are going to be fun, even though the committee has shown they give 0 Fs about conference tournaments.
It's still fun for us, though, man.
Yeah.
And obviously the AQ, like the mid majors.
It's super fun to watch. It really is. And I think March. I do think the chalk will rise, but I also think there will be some upsets that people do not see coming.
We need some upsets, and like especially after last season, because I can't go through the arguments with the casual Johnny-come-latelys that are like, "Oh, this is boring. This is such a boring tournament." And I'm like, I mean, the games were still sick. San Diego almost picked off Michigan, if you remember that last year. Like the games were awesome. Damn near every Florida game was awesome. Right? The Houston Duke game. Oh, it was boring. This is so boring. It's chalky. Enough.
Yeah, my read on March this year is that the injuries and the individual talent will make upsets happen. There's going to be teams that are misseeded because guys were out. There's going to be teams like, for example, take Arkansas. They're probably going to be like a 5, maybe a 6. Darius Acuff can hands down beat any team being the best player. Like,
I love them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of teams like that. For example, let's just say that UNC loses their last 3 because they're going to play 2 without Caleb Wilson and then have to go play Duke and falls to like a 7. They're not a real 7. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it kind of throws everything off. Who knows where? Like, it's just going to be interesting. I think we're in for a great March. I think we're in for a treat. And that's just, I'm very excited about it. Subi, any closing thoughts before we head on out of here?
Appreciate you guys letting me come on here. JK, love chatting with you. The chat, I appreciate it as well. I know I'm not Dion, but trying my best. And to close it out on this last comment from Rick there. Yeah, I have terrible friends. I have a wedding and a bachelor party. I have awful, awful friends. And I'm going to make this, I think he was watching the show with me and Greg last week. I'm going to make this is my parting message, JK. How about this? The football hardos have made it so that you are going to be shamed for scheduling big time events in October and November because they're terrified of missing a 70-0 beatdown between Alabama and UAB. You can't step on a college football Saturday. So what that does then is people are like, well, you know when it gets nice again? March, April. And then they schedule stuff during the NCAA tournament and the Final Four. And I'm over here trying to be a good person, a good friend. And I'm going to have a terrible, terrible time. Who knows, JK? Maybe I'll get lucky enough to watch the title game on Monday. But it disgusts me, and this is football fans' fault.
I can't disagree with that. Seen it happen before. Football ruins everything. Love watching football. Love football. We got to show some love, though, man. Can't be dissing college basketball like this. So, Subi's friends and all grooms out there, be better.
Disaster.
Be better. Basically, take September if you're worried about football, and wait until the second week of April, and we're chilling.
Or just at least add March Madness to your taboo. Like, don't schedule anything for that. I think you're ridiculous. I'm serious. Like, the Josh Pates of the world are going to be like, oh no, I'm proud to not schedule a wedding during week 0 so I can watch Kansas State and Dublin. Cool, man. Like, awesome. But all right, that's your prerogative. Add March Madness to that. All right, the last 3 weeks of March and the first weekend of April, and whatever you want with the college football season. Go crazy everywhere else. Fine.
Because you know what I actually went on a bachelor trip during this sporting event last year. You know what the perfect bachelor trip sporting event is? The Masters.
You said the Masters? Yeah,
the
I
perfect
believe that.
bachelor. It's because you can put it on in the background. You don't have to be locked in, but it's elite. You're gonna go play golf with the guys anyways, so it's gonna be chill. Like it's the perfect bachelor trip sporting event. And like just be better. Just wait until a week after the tournament ends and go on the bachelor trip during the Masters.
Doug, I think that's a great idea. But I'm also over here, like, I'll never tell someone, oh, I don't know, man, you can't schedule it like the weekend in between the AFC NFC title game and the Super Bowl. Like, don't schedule it then because there's some big time college basketball matchups. If I have to miss some regular season college basketball games, so be it. But in what world are we okay not missing week 0 and week 1 in college football? But yeah, like, oh, the Sweet 16, you just got to grin and bear it. No, it pisses me off, dude.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Subi, I'm sorry that you're going to be in hell like that. For JK, for Subi, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Can't wait for the game tonight. Going to be a fun watch. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this season goes leading into the tournament, the conference tournaments, the NCAA tournament. Everyone have a good weekend. Stay safe. Dion and who knows will be on tomorrow, assuming he's at least decent in health. And yeah, everyone enjoy the rest of your Thursday.